So let's have a brief chat now about some of the design features associated with an emergency generator. Let's talk first about the environment. Where are you going to install the emergency generator? An emergency generator will usually be stored in an enclosed room. It will be clean. It will have good access to fresh air because you're going to need that air for combustion. It will usually be heated. You can heat the room, you can heat the jacket water system, or you can heat the oil system. Typically it's the jacket water system that's heated, and this ensures that the engine is always ready to start. It's in a constant state of readiness. If you start the engine and you put it on load very quickly and it's cold, then you risk damaging the engine. The reason you put the emergency generator in its own room is because you want it to be isolated as much as possible from the surrounding area. If you're on a ship and you have a problem in the engine room and the emergency generator is installed in the engine room, let's imagine for a moment we hit an iceberg, the engine room floods, the emergency generator is in the engine room, and then the emergency generator will no longer function because it's swimming underwater. For this reason, the emergency generator is not located in the engine room. If you're in a power station, the emergency generator is usually located either in a separate compartment from the main building, the boiler house or the turbine house, or it will simply be located 50 meters away, 150 feet or whatever, away from the building. So that if there's damage to the boiler house or the turbine or anything else, the emergency generator should not be damaged as well. Sometimes the environment is constantly changing. This is particularly relevant on ships. We've already mentioned that if a ship runs into an iceberg, then certain areas of the ship will flood. For this reason, emergency generators are not installed below the waterline. At the front of the ship you also have what's called a collision bulkhead, which is like a normal bulkhead but actually goes all the way from the keel, the bottom of the vessel, up to the top and is continuous and unbroken. If you're on a ship and you're travelling forward and you collide with a container or another ship, an iceberg, whatever, if it's the front area in front of this collision bulkhead that floods, then the water flooding into that area will not be able to travel into the next compartment. It won't travel over the bulkhead. So that's why you have a collision bulkhead, because you want to have an internal wall, if you like, that prevents any water from getting from the area that is damaged at the front to the area behind. Once the water starts to spread from the front to the back or spread anywhere on the ship, you get problems concerning stability because the water tends to slosh around a lot. We call it the free surface effect. But also it gradually brings the ship further and further into the water, which allows more water into the vessel. So for this reason, emergency generators have to be fitted behind this collision bulkhead. Like I mentioned, they'll be fitted above the waterline. They always have to be accessible from an open deck, which means that you shouldn't have to go into the vessel in order to access the emergency generator. You should be able to access it from outside. This is quite useful because if there's a fire or something like that, you want your emergency generator in its own room, you want it to be accessible, and you want to be able to go in and out, even if the engine room is on fire or a different area of the ship, etc. There's also legislation dictating that the emergency generator should be able to operate even if the vessel is tilted to one side, port or starboard, or is tipped in any direction such as fore or aft. If a ship is tilted to port or starboard, we actually call that a list. If the front of the ship tends to be pointing up and the back is down, or vice versa, then we call that the trim. That's how we measure it. It's not very natural if the rear end of the ship is pointing up in the air and the front is pointing down into the water. The legislation used to be that the emergency generator had to operate with a trim up to about 10 degrees and a list up to about 22.5 degrees. If you've ever seen images of the Titanic sinking, you will know that it had an extreme trim before the back of the ship actually just cracked and the vessel split into two parts. Emergency power system. And I'm sorry there if I digress a bit and start talking about lifeboats and Titanic and things like that, but it's quite fascinating when you look at it because you look back in the past and you really just can't understand how they even made ships move or how anyone even survived a trip across the Atlantic. It was quite a fascinating period of time.